What's up, everybody? Well, it's been a while since I last had the chance to do a review, but I'm back momentarily for this Project CUE critique of Assassin's Creed Altair's Chronicles for the Nintendo DS. Now, you'll have to forgive me because I've yet had the chance to experience the 360 PS3 counterpart of this title, but at the same time, it could allow me to offer a more open-minded opinion of the game as a whole. You have a simple mission as Altair in this adventure, and that's to track down a relic known only as the Chalice from a temple heavily pursued by both your organization and the Templar Knights. You do this with a variety of gameplay mechanics that range from this being an action platformer to touch controls that involve pressure points in Elite Beat Agents-like fashion, and a maze minigame that functions similar to the board game Operation. To an extent, this is all interesting to experience, but unfortunately it doesn't come quite together like you'd want it to. Instead of encouraging mostly stealth, this game leans more towards a Prince of Persia knockoff, with heavy action and platforming, but without all the crazy acrobatics. The combat is relatively mindless and unchallenging, as you're rarely harmed by the common Templar enemies that you run into 95% of the time. You're basically trekking from point A to B, decimating your foes with typical 3-button combos, occasionally handing out stealth kills, but after the first 50 times you do it, it starts feeling incredibly formulaic. I honestly wish the developers opted for a more puzzle-like stealth platformer with more stylus and microphone use, but at the same time, this isn't a terrible concept for DS. It can be fun, but only with the necessary mindset, especially considering how stiff, wonky, and sometimes unresponsive the controls can be altogether. From a technical standpoint, though, Altair's Chronicles is pretty impressive. The main character's model is close to that of his next-gen counterpart, and the environments are nicely detailed and varied, with textures and such. The animations are also generally smooth and convincing, even if you end up seeing the same ones over and over. My only complaints extend to an at times unsteady frame rate, and basically one designed for the Citizen and Templar characters. Audio-wise, again, the overall problem stems from repetition, but the material is actually pretty good. The tribal themes accentuate the game's atmosphere rather nicely, and the dramatic shift in tone for battle is interesting for the first hour or so. It just stinks that along with that repetition is absolutely no voiceovers. Given how little dialogue there is, I find it lazy that the developers couldn't have added more life to the game with some spoken exchanges. However, it's pretty funny to hear the grunts and screams of the citizens that you can screw with, and the Templars you can wring out. Basically, what we have here is a DS game that succeeds from a production standpoint, but doesn't execute very well in the gameplay department. Again, this can be entertaining with the various guilty pleasures and 7 to 10 hours of possible playtime, but in the end you have to decide whether that's worth your investment. Altair's Chronicles scores a 6.6 out of 10 from Project CUE. Okay then, thanks for checking this out, and look for my next review, hopefully for either No More Heroes or House of the Dead 2 and 3 Return, within the next week or two. See you later.